Hey guys, welcome back to Cage Chat Next Opponent. Now in today's episode we're going to be looking at the Jose Aldo, who did get victory this weekend at UFC Fight Night 144 in his hometown, or home country should I say, Brazil, in Fortaleza, and the king is certainly back. Now I'm going through 5 opponents, both some in the featherweight and maybe one in the lightweight, but make sure you subscribe and comment who you think Jose Aldo should fight in his next bout inside the UFC, and should it be a 3-round fight or 5-round fight. So yeah, starting off at number 5 we have got Frankie Edgar. He's currently ranked number 3 inside the featherweight division. And of course these two have fought before for the interim championship, and Jose Aldo did get a victory then, but these two are both legends of both the UFC and the featherweight division itself. Now Frankie Edgar's last fight was in fact in 2018 in April against Cub Swanson, where he did get a victory via unanimous decision inside the 3rd round. So he hasn't fought in almost a year now, so perfect timing with him fighting Aldo, who didn't get hurt, I don't believe, unless he got an injury. You know, it only lasted, what, 6-7 minutes, and he was on top, so unless he got a muscle injury, etc., I don't think he will be out too long, but he's only got, hoping, 2 fights. He's staying on one on his contract and before he retires. Now, the way he looked on Saturday, I think he's got another 4 or 5 fights in him and could potentially go on for a year or 2 with that sort of level of dominance and performance that he has in him. So yes, I put Frankie Edgar at number 5, but let's now move on to number 4. Now number 4 is Alex Volkanovski, a man who's on a mission inside the featherweight division. He's won his last 6 fights and is currently ranked 4th in the featherweight division, 19 wins and 1 loss. And his most recent victory was at UFC 232 in December, the John Jones card of course, where he fought Chad Mendes and got TKO inside the 2nd round. Now it was a very much similar performance to the Chad Mendes-Conor McGregor fight, not in terms of the interim title being on the line, but Chad Mendes did very well in the 1st round, but in the 2nd round he sort of gassed, and Alex Volkanovski, who's quite good on the mic, he's quite good to listen to. He seems pretty humble, he's a nice guy. Obviously not inside the octagon, he's an absolute monster. But I think he could give Jose Aldo a good problem, but potentially Jose Aldo could walk all over him. But it's almost like, for me, I'm picturing this as a handing over the mantle sort of fight, and if Volkanovski can get a win, that propels him up into number 2, number 1, looking for that title shot. Now number 3, and probably surprisingly low on this rank, is Max Holloway, the champion. Now Max Holloway is 2-0 against Jose Aldo. Now this is why he's not higher on this list, because I don't want to see Aldo having a championship fight just yet, because, you know, it's already 2-0, one's by decision, one by knockout. In fact, they might have both been TKO, but one I remember going a longer distance, and then the 2nd one was over and done with pretty quickly from the champ. Now Max Holloway is 20-3 inside the UFC, and his last defeat came 5.5 years ago to Conor McGregor. Now of course, his last fight was against Brian Ortega, who he absolutely lit up inside 4 rounds, causing the fight to be stopped before going into the 5th. So he's probably the greatest featherweight at the moment. He's beat Aldo. His only sort of mark is Conor McGregor, and hopefully we're going to get a rematch between those two inside the lightweight division this year, maybe next year even. They're both quite young, but I think Max Holloway is looking to move up, but I still believe if he can defend that belt once, maybe twice, that makes him the greatest featherweight of all time for certain. But all those names up there, and you have to say so is Conor McGregor after beating both Max Holloway and Aldo. Now number 2, that does take us on to the champ, Conor McGregor. Now of course, Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo did fight at UFC 194, and it's the moment that made Conor McGregor, almost probably ruined Conor McGregor at the same time. 13-second victory, TKO, that flush one, you see him practicing it in warm-up, and he gets it flushed on the chin, and we have a new featherweight champion. Now since then, both of their paths have been very different. Conor McGregor is now 2-2 inside the UFC, losing to Nate Diaz and of course Khabib. But he's also got victory over Alvarez, where he became champ, and won in the rematch against Diaz. And of course had that Mayweather fight in between. So this is a rematch I'd probably see at lightweight. Now if this is almost for me an Aldo retirement match in terms of having a rematch. McGregor says he wants to fight in Brazil again, and of course they want it to go a longer distance than 13 seconds. How good is Conor McGregor? How good is Aldo? Was it a fluke? But it's whether it happens at featherweight. I don't see McGregor coming down, and if Aldo doesn't want to go up, then I don't see this fight happening. But I think they should have a rematch, and especially before Jose Aldo retires. Whether it be for a belt or just a 5-round fight, who knows? Or a 3-round fight even, potentially. But I don't... a fight for that magnitude sort of needs to be for a belt. Now at number 1 is Brian Ortega. Of course, recently lost to Max Holloway in that championship fight at UFC 231. And it was his first defeat. He's 14-1 inside the UFC, ranked 2 now after Aldo did overtake him this weekend. And that is the fight I want to see. Ortega's not fought, of course. He had some pretty bad injuries, but he recovered. He's such a pretty boy, isn't he? Let's be honest. He recovered well. I want Brian Ortega versus Jose Aldo next. I think 1 and 2 fighting it out, looking for that championship fight. Now, whether Max Holloway can fight in between that for a non-title belt inside the lightweight division, who knows, and then come back down and fight the winner of Brian Ortega, who I do actually believe will move up to 155 within the next 2 years. He's on the same path as Max Holloway. He's coming to the end of his featherweight division career, and it will look to move up. And I'd like to see Brian Ortega versus Conor McGregor. I think that would have a Nate Diaz effect on Conor with Brian Ortega's brilliant jiu-jitsu. He was one of the best with that. I remember that standing guillotine, I believe, against Cub Swanson that he got, and of course it was his first title fight. He beat Frankie Edgar, which Aldo's also done, and I think this is one that would go very well with the fans. So yes, I put Brian Ortega. T-City is the next destination for Jose Aldo, I believe, but the King of Brazil has very much got some pride and some honour left in him, and if he has any performances like he did against Renato Moicano this year, he is very much putting himself back into a title shot. I just don't really want to see it against Max Holloway. So whether Max Holloway relinquishes the title or loses the title, then I would like to see Aldo get a rematch for the title, and hopefully, the old king can take reign once again inside the featherweight division. So yes, that is Cage Chat next opponent for Jose Aldo. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, hit that notification bell as well, and I'll see you on the next one.